hear ye, come one, come all. Welcome to the Dukes of Gaming podcast. This is the Duke of Procrastination, Thomas. How is everybody doing this week? It is me and my fellow Dukes. First and foremost, what's going on, Ben, the Duke of Design? How are you this week?
Very good, very good. Excited to talk with you guys.
Good stuff, good stuff. We have the Duke of Rocket League. What's going on, Cole? How are you?
Good. Glad to be back from vacation, nursing some sunburns. Ready to be here. Ready to talk about video games.
Sounds good, sounds good. We have the Duke of Nostalgia. What's going on, Taylor? How are you this week?
I am hot and bothered, so you might start seeing me taking off bits of clothing, It's just don't call it out. It's fine.
No judgment. No judgment. And then last but certainly not least, we have Alfredo. How are you?
Hey, I am doing great. Had food poisoning this week. That sucked a lot, but I'm back to playing video games and not, just laying in bed in pure agony. So that's great.
And forgive me, the Duke of Education, Alfredo.
Yes. Also still taking care of my students, getting rid of the ones that are not important. Can't stress that enough.
Good to hear. Well, we have a great show for you all this week. We're going to go over the EA Play. We're going to go over some Netflix, PlayStation rumors. But first, as always, what have you all been playing this week?
Well, I have been playing the new Pokemon Unite. Just started playing that.
I have also been playing new Pokemon Unite.
I got to the tutorial.
Exactly. See, that's half the battle.
Truly, in any MOBA.
What'd you think of the battle? What'd you think of the tutorial?
I've never been so sure that I don't want to play a game. And that's just for me, I get it. Like, I get it. I understand why people love them. And I just knew right there, I'm like, I'm not going to enjoy this at all, so I'm not going to force it.
Second question, though. Have you gotten through a tutorial in another MOBA like League of Legends or Smite or anything like that?
Yes. And I felt the same way. I thought it might be different because this would be Pokemon. And it just wasn't. It didn't hit. I was just like, oh, man. I was sort of anticipating it, but I'm glad that we have some Dukes who have played it and can give their thoughts on it, because I certainly can.
I'll go off that point, though, because there was this part of my brain that said, yeah, this is Pokemon. It's going to be different than League. It's going to be different than Dota. But and it felt like that during the tutorial. But very quickly after actually joining ranked play, I went, nope, I hate everyone who plays this game. I am angry I'm not doing well. Or fuck everyone else. I'm the best player in the world.
Okay, I have the same thoughts, actually.
Yeah.
But I did keep with it. So I'm not the biggest Pokemon fan. I will not, try to hide that. I pretty much don't know any Pokemon, but I still play the games and enjoy them from time to time. But I went into it with the same thought that you did, Thomas, of, I think this will be different because it was Pokemon. And I've tried other MOBAs. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've tried doing League, and in the tutorial, I can't even get to finish it because it's just so complicated. There's so many rules. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, there's too many things. But for some reason, this actually did grab me. And I think it's because they simplified the mechanics enough where my brain isn't just spazzing out and being like, wait, what do I have to do? Like, I have to do this and that. They make it, the tutorial at least, is super easy where, like, okay, you have this move, there's this mechanic, you can use it this way. It just feels more beginner friendly for me, and in a way that it held my hand to the point where I could at least get used to it. And I did actually start having fun when I started doing some of the battles. Now, in ranked matches, I also did get frustrated, like Taylor said, and, I got played on the sucky team. Sometimes I would be on a good team, but I can kind of see myself getting better at this game. And I'm only about, I've been playing it for 2-3 hours, and I'm happy with what I'm playing with so far. I think I'm going to continue playing with it and seeing where it goes. But I definitely see I'm cautious. I'm being cautious on getting too hooked into the game because of its let's say like its microtransaction-y nature, I guess.
The pay to
Taylor,
win,
I know
right?
you were speaking about that a little bit.
It's definitely pay to win. I don't know that for a fact. I haven't like looked at all the things you can buy, but from what I've seen that it's offered me, I'm like, this is how you get real good at the game real fast.
Because basically you can buy, you pick a Pokemon to play as, but not all of them are available. You kind of have to like buy, in quotes, like using the in-game currency. You buy the Pokemon that you want, or you can earn it after playing like a bajillion different matches and getting the currency.
And like every single other pay to win 10-cent game, the amount of currencies in this game is overwhelming. I couldn't tell you how many currencies there are. There are coins, there's tickets, there's clothes vouchers, there's other coins, there's Ethereum, there's
they got a battle pass.
They got a battle pass, they got everything. Which makes me say, no, I'm not going to put my money in here because I don't trust it as far as I can throw it. And I can throw my Switch pretty far. But back to what you're saying about the simplification, I think they simplified it in all the right ways, because I think the gameplay is still very essentially what League is. League's in my opinion, the good MOBA. And it feels like League, it plays like League, but the simplification of the level up mechanic, you can instantly see your level up, and it's even easier when the Pokemon evolve. You just know you're getting better at what you're doing. The scoring system is so clear. It's you dunk a ball in and you've scored. You play basketball basically. You're not even confused if you scored or not. It's instantaneous. There's a little cutscene animation, and just the HUD in general. It looks cluttered. It looked cluttered when I first started playing, but everything is so well placed. When I started looking to like get better, I'm like, oh, there that is. I'm so dumb. It's all right there. I should just press these buttons. No, I think it's a nicely simplified MOBA. I hope. I guess I'm pretty sure this is going to be very addicting to some people, and I'm
for sure.
I'm hoping it's not for anyone listening.
It's free to play.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Do not put money in this game. Don't fall down the Fortnite hole. Pokemon wants to do Fortnite stuff. Everyone and their mom wants to make money the way Fortnite makes money. And don't put your wallet in these games. They're perfectly enjoyable, free, and if they're not to you anymore, don't play them because they're a waste of your time. There are better games out there.
Yeah.
So.
Totally seconded. It at the end of the day, it's a free to play game. You don't need Nintendo Online to play it, even though it's not an online game. It's free to play. Just do not. I know you might want that shiny Bulbasaur or Charmander, but you don't need it. Maybe you can earn it. Just play the game, see if you like it first. Just try not to spend millions of dollars on this game. But good luck.
The way you earn stuff, the accrual of the currency is so small. It is. I was looking at the long ass list of achievements. I'm like, it would take someone daily 5 to 6, probably an hour of play if you get on teams each time you log in, just to like level up a couple times in one day. And even that, you get like 50 of the currency, which is
50 tickets.
50 tickets, and everything costs 1,000. It's specifically designed so you go, I'll just pay for it. So don't do that. Don't be a rube.
So you guys don't think it's worth the money right now, but do you think that it will get there?
For me, I think it can get there. I definitely see its beginning kind of, baby steps of where it's at, of that, it's trying to, it definitely needs a lot of work when it comes to its like ranked match system, because right now it's kind of a mess. And you either get paired with a team that's completely dominating, or you get put on like the really sucky team. So it needs to fix that. It hopefully will fix all of its different currencies and maybe simplify it so it's just streamlined, but that is where they make its money. But I'm gonna kind of hold my breath until I'm gonna put a little bit more hours into it and see maybe if I get a little bit better how like the actual ranked matches go, and then we'll let you guys probably know like next week or the week after what I'm feeling.
They give you enough. They give you enough to start off with that I don't think there's any reason other than you want to build up your avatar that you should have to pay. If you get good, if you really like the game and you think it's cute and fun and a good time sink, then learn the mechanics, learn how to really better yourself in the game. Don't spend the money to just get the stuff that makes you better. Don't spend the money to upgrade your avatar because you can't even see it like ever. So
that's true.
Yeah. I think I would recommend everyone download it this month or as quickly as possible because you get a free Pokemon that's actually fairly powerful if you download it this month. That way you have a good, strong Pokemon to begin with, and you don't really have to think about it again. You can delete the game if you're not playing, come back, and you still have it. I wouldn't waste the money on it pretty much ever. I don't think there's any reason to, and I feel like this game's probably going to fall off the map fairly quickly, if I'm being honest.
I don't know. I feel I sense some potential. I sense some Genshin Impact kind of potential with this game, just because it's Pokemon and everyone's going to want to catch them all. So I feel like they're going to pull in those numbers.
I can see the matchmaking rooms being pretty barren in like 5 months.
I will log on then and let you know.
Okay, that's a bet. I bet you all of my Pokebucks.
So, I think I'm playing on Plague Tale. Is anybody else playing Plague Tale?
Yeah, I am too.
Same.
So, obviously, we're going to talk about that more in depth later, but, I'm having a good time playing that. I mean, I'm around chapter 9, so just getting through that. It's pretty much all I've been playing this week.
Yeah, I dig it so far. We'll talk in more depth about it at the next book club, but it's definitely pulling me in.
For sure.
Wait till you guys get a little farther.
It works in like spurts for me. It's like watching a Netflix show. I'll play like maybe 3 chapters and then be like, all right, I'm cool for the night, and then play a little bit more the next day. So I'm having a good time with it from that standpoint.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely nice kind of playing this on the side because I feel like I haven't played like a single player like narrative driven game in a very long time. Maybe like The Last of Us 2 was the last one, or Ghost of Tsushima, but it's been a while, so this is a nice little palate cleanser. But aside from that, I've actually been playing a very new game that just came out that's kind of hot off the presses called Death's Door, which is a game that everyone is talking about right now. It just came out this past week, and it is this indie game, Zelda-like experience, basically. And instead of playing as Link, you star as a bird. Yes, a crow, to be more specific. And it's basically Zelda. Not one of the new ones like Breath of the Wild, but more of I think a Link's Awakening, where it's like more top down. You have your weapon, your sword, you're slashing down on enemies, kind of like that, and it has puzzles, all of that. So I'm actually about 4 or 5 hours in. I beat the first boss. I beat the first and the second boss. I believe, I haven't looked it up, but I believe there's 4 bosses. There's 3 main ones that you have to defeat that each have their own dungeon and each unique game mechanic and everything. And I will say I started this game, I only played an hour, and it wasn't really grabbing me. It seemed like it was a kind of dull clone. And then I got into the first dungeon, which is kind of like this whimsical Studio Ghibli type witch's castle, basically. And it really, really got good after I got into the actual dungeon crawling of the game. Like, it started feeling good. The combat started feeling good. The magic, like, everything started pulling together. And what I'll say is that I didn't know pretty much anything from this game before I started it, aside from the fact that I heard it being compared to Dark Souls, like a top-down kind of Dark Souls, but it's definitely not that. It's this is more akin to a Zelda experience, where this is a fun puzzle adventure game. And I feel like we haven't gotten a lot of those, actually. So it's really fun to play that. It's only $20 too, which is another big bonus, because last week I was actually in the mood for one of these types of games, and I was considering buying A Link's Awakening, which is still $60, even though it came out like 2-3 years ago from Nintendo. And then this game came out, and I bought this instead for a fraction of the price. I'm getting what I assume to be the same-ish experience. But I'm having a lot of fun with it. Whenever you die, it doesn't have any souls like what's the word? Game mechanics where you die and you lose all your points. No, you just start at a checkpoint very close to where you died at, basically retaining all of the souls that you collected, which is kind of like your currency. And you just continue from there. It's just a nice, fun puzzle. And on top of that, actually, an added bonus is that this actually has a pretty good story too, which I didn't expect from this. The story, you don't have to read a bunch of lore it's not abstract. You don't have to figure out what's happening. Like, there are actual characters who are like saying like what's happening in the world. There's, there's something that happens very early on in the beginning that sets you up for why you're going on this adventure and what you're doing in each of the dungeons. And each of the dungeons has like a very well established, I'll say villain in quotes, but the villains are really like funny and whimsical. It's kind of like a Pixar movie, kind of, where it's just like, it's aware of what it is and it's trying to capture that cartoony, fun, imaginative world that you would expect out of a Pixar movie or a Ghibli movie. So I'm really enjoying it so far. The game definitely isn't without its faults, but I'm really enjoying it. And for $20, I do think it is a steal, honestly. I'm not sure how long it is, but it's a really great game. It is an Xbox console exclusive though, and it's also on PC. So unfortunately, you can't play this like on your PS5 or your Switch, and I cannot tell you guys how many times I was like, man, I wish there was some sort of way that I could play this game on a handheld-like console in my bed. Like something, if only Steam came out with a console that could do this. But yeah, Steam Deck would be perfect for this game.
I might
so
play it.
Yeah, I'm having a blast with this game.
That sounds super fun.
Yeah, it sounds cool.
You should.
It looks cool. It's
really fun. I highly recommended it. It's really fun.
Cool. And last but not least, Cole, what have you been playing this week?
I have been playing Dead Cells again. This was my personal game of the year 2018 when it came out. And even Red Dead came out that year, but this game's incredible. And this is one of the reasons that I was so hyped about Returnal, and I was so hyped about Hades. And I'll be honest with you, none of those games lived up to this one. Have y'all played Dead Cells?
It's been on my Xbox since I first got it, because it's on Game Pass. I have not pulled the trigger and started it.
I started it, but it never pulled me in for some reason. I feel like I just didn't get far enough.
Yeah. Ben, do you have a Switch, right?
Yeah, I do. Would you recommend playing on a Switch?
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's such an awesome Switch game. It's so addicting, and the combat, Hades was like, you picked your weapon, and I feel like your build didn't really change. I feel like you kind of built it out however you wanted to play each game. But Dead Cells is like, when you first start, you get to pick, it gives you 3 random weapons, and then from there, you'll come across different things, and you kind of like, I don't know, every game you have a completely different build, and everything is fun to play with. It's not like just one weapon is fun. Like you have passive abilities where you'll drop traps and you'll drop weapons like turret guns and stuff like that. And then you'll have like some of them might have like an oil ability, and your main weapon is like an electric whip. So you're whipping the enemies, and they're catching on fire, and they're electrocuting and stuff. And like, I don't know, the combat is so satisfying, and your jumps, just everything about the way the game moves, the way it plays is so incredible. And I keep going back to it. I played it a ton in 2018, and I've picked it up here and there since. And there's a new DLC that just came out, which I haven't paid for it yet, but I'm going to. I just jumped in and wanted to get back used to playing it before I download that. I've never beat it, which, you can beat it in like 30 minutes, but I've always died I got to the final boss and died. But the gameplay is so fun, it doesn't even matter. So an average run will be like 10, 15, 20 minutes. And I just can't recommend it enough. And I'm sure it's cheap now. It's $20, or I think when it was released it was $24. But Taylor, have you played it?
Nope. I don't think.
Man.
Yeah, I actually don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
No,
It's a roguelike, and it's the best one of. No, you're like a little. No, you're actually a little guy with like a flame for a head. I don't even really
I
know
think
what.
you're talking about Hollow Knight? Yeah, Hollow
Yeah,
Knight.
you're thinking of Hollow Knight. See, and I've played Hollow Knight, and it doesn't
You're a
doesn't even
bug,
compare to me. This is not like a Metroidvania. This is a straight roguelike where you it's a 2D kind of platformer, and you just move through the level.
Yes, that's
and
what I'm
then a
thinking.
level is a few minutes long,
Okay.
and then you get a break between the level to spend your points, and then you go to the next level, and then you go through it, and it branches out. Each level is procedurally generated, so it feels different every time.
is this
And
made
really
by
it
the same
does. It feels good every time.
Is this made by the same people who made Hyperlight Drifter? Because it looks like
I don't
it.
think
No,
so.
it's not.
It's super.
Okay,
It's
Yeah.
Super Giant,
gotcha.
right? Super Giant.
No, it's not Super
No?
Giant. Super Giant
No,
made Hades.
who is it? Oh yeah, okay. yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know who made Dead Cells. Motion Twin.
No, they have a game
It
coming
is.
out.
It's
this
better
year.
than Hades. But
Huh.
I mean, play it. Like honestly, the gameplay is so
Super
satisfying.
Super Giant made
every hit
Hades.
is satisfying. Every like the way you bust through
You
doors. And
you
like,
saying you like it better than
everything's
Hades?
so much more
is
satisfying than
interesting.
Hades. Now, I liked Hades a lot.
I want to. Yeah,
I think
want to
Hades
see
is
that.
a
I wanna play it now.
good game. I think Dead Cells is one of the best games I've played in the past 5 years.
It's developed by Motion Twin.
Motion Twin, yeah.
Apparently, that's their only game.
I mean, that
From
came
what I
out.
see.
It's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously, I mean, I keep going back to it. I'll let you guys know in a few minutes. I'm gonna check my hours on that game, but it's unbelievable. It's great. I can't recommend it enough. Like if you do play it, and Alfredo, if you play it again, just jump into it. Give it a 45 minutes.
I think
If you
I'll definitely need to, because it's in my Steam library. The problem is, for games like this, I want to play on my Switch, where I could just lie on my bed and just play it on handheld.
And that's
which is
why-
I think I need a Steam Deck now, guys.
Now I don't know. I might have bounced off of it. I mean, it feels great on the Switch. Latency would matter. I would not. You want it to feel. I mean, it feels really crisp, and you need that. It's like a.
Does latency
like
matter
you
in
couldn't
this
play
game?
Super Meat Boy or something with latency, which is not nothing like that. But I would just imagine that latency would really ruin the experience.
All right, you got me. I'll play it this week.
Play it, and now if it doesn't grab you in the first 15 or 20 minutes, the combat is just
He
the
says
combat.
reluctantly.
The combat's what does it. So if that doesn't really grab you, then you're probably gonna be out on it. But play it on Switch and tell me, because it really is something else.
Me too.
I just scanned
Me
through their
too.
website, and they're pretty weird. They're pretty interesting. It's just a 7-person studio, and they've got a totally flat structure. So there's everybody's like equal.
Owns
They all
it.
take home
Oh.
the exact same pay.
Neat.
And
That's cool.
so it's like just a total cooperative type thing. They've made tons of games, like hundreds of games, but the only one of any note
Really?
is Dead Cells. So they've been around for like 20 years, and they finally knocked it out of the park with Dead Cells.
Huh.
And they're a French studio too. That's another I guess notable thing.
Speaking of. Right.
Yeah, sure.
But
yeah. Oh well,
spe-
good for them. They're all
speaking
millionaires, I'm
of-
sure.
Speaking of unique studios, though, Death's Door.
So they didn't hit it out the
is
park
made by a
first try,
studio
but
called
it's better late than
Acidner,
never.
which is a 2-person team from the UK. And they've only had
Right, exactly.
they've had one other big game called
only heard
Titanfall
good
that was
things.
like 5 years
Oh, yeah.
ago, which it did pretty well. If you guys have heard, they did that game. Yeah, they did that game, and then they made this one, which everyone loves. And they're only a 2-person team. Crazy.
Dang, that is crazy.
Oh wow! I love
So
that
this is the
game.
best.
Wow, they
I'll
made
just
that.
go and throw this out.
Wow.
This is the best indie game
Okay.
I've ever played.
That's
Wow, that's
Yeah.
that is interesting. I love Titanfall. I was on my
Same.
PS4. That was a PlayStation Plus game.
It's awesome,
Oh.
man.
Put it on the backlog list.
I've heard good things about it. Only good things. I haven't heard a single negative thing about it. So I'm like, all right, it might be time. Well, good to hear. Good to hear. Sounds like we were playing some good stuff. But let's talk about some stuff that we haven't yet played, but maybe are anticipating, because EA dropped their EA Play Live 2021, and they announced some games. I don't know if I can call them,
Let's save the best for last.
big games, like things we've been anticipating besides probably one. I don't know. Do y'all want to start from bottom to like something that we can
Cole,
get through?
you're the only one who played it, right?
Go right into.
I
Like,
think
the
so, yeah.
discussion.
Wait, me? Yeah, I played like 10 minutes, and no, I'm not looking forward to it.
Saving the best for last is really opposite.
Apparently,
Is anybody
It does
really
look like a
pretty
fun
good?
game.
City?
Yeah,
yeah.
and it looks
Honestly,
fun.
yeah, it did feel pretty good, but like, I don't know. I just didn't really. It didn't really pull me in. Their gameplay was pretty crisp, and I could see how people love it.
I think this game.
Yeah.
I think this game would really benefit from, actually being free to play, because isn't it like $20, $10 or $20? I know it had a free trial.
Yeah, it was a free trial. That's why I played it.
Respect to the developers and the fans.
Oh, is it?
Game Pass.
Ah, good to know. For PC. I gotta do some research.
Are
That's
you sure it's not through the EA subscription through?
It's free
Game
on
Pass? Is
Xbox.
it just on Game
it
Pass?
might be.
It's on Game Pass.
Okay.
I don't know if it's on Game Pass PC.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, that's probably one of the only things that's kind of holding me back from at least trying this game, because it does look like a fun
through
game and
EA
something
Play,
I
but
would be
EA Play,
interested in.
You
but I don't know
automatically
if I
get
want
EA
to,
Play with Game
spend
Pass.
$20 on it in order to, be able to play the game. Yeah.
This would be a perfect blockbuster game. You get it for a weekend, see if you like it, and then you buy it after. But
I think you nailed it when you said it's a
I might try
blockbuster
it
game.
out,
This is a game you go get.
Season 2,
You get some
bring
chips
something
and dip
different,
and some
maybe
snacks with your
some-
friends, and you
I don't
play
know.
the crap
I
out
see
of
potential
it
for
for
it. It's not
3
gonna be a
days,
Fortnite or
and then it's
anything,
like,
but I think it
then
could
that's
be
it.
something substantial in the future.
Next.
They're really promoting it, so.
That's true. For a discount.
There were those games. Those are special. Math.
Or you buy it afterwards. There were those type
massive
of games,
action game.
Oh, yeah. I remember that one.
Like, I think I did that with Mag for PS3, where I rented that from Blockbuster. It's one of the last Blockbuster games. Mag, it's the 100 multiplayer shooter that was on PS3.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I
So
actually bought that.
I rented that, and I was like, oh, I need to buy this. I love this. And, so it works
I'm
sometimes.
pretty sure I
It used
bought
to
that
work sometimes,
from
but sometimes, like,
Blockbuster.
you get a game
Was
like
playing the
Haze. I don't know if
single
y'all
player
remember that.
campaign,
Haze on
got
PS3.
to like one of the late
The Halo-
missions, and it
the Halo
froze
Club-
in the
that
same
was one of
exact
the ones
spot
that I
every single
rented, and I
time.
was like,
Never
all right,
finished
this
the
is
game
going back
because
to
of it.
Blockbuster and staying on that shelf.
Frustrating.
I mean,
Yeah.
I might have maybe not bought it and just like lost in quotes the disc.
You could borrow indefinitely. They're not around anymore. What are they gonna do? Come for you?
I didn't know you could buy
Mr.
games from
Blockbuster.
Blockbuster.
Well, when I say lost, I mean I lost it to my parents, and my parents paid for it, and then I still have and then I found the disc, and I have it. You know.
Quick little story. I rented.
They might be watching it. They might be watching this podcast.
Blockbuster
Like, we got
across
you.
the street from me, and I found it while we were moving out of Philadelphia. And I panicked. I had a heart attack. I'm like, I gotta return this, or I'll go to hell. And like, almost next week, Netflix came out, and everyone was talking about how Blockbuster was dying. In 2-3 years, Blockbuster was bankrupt and gone. And I remembered that, and I'm like, I could have kept it, and no one, Johnny Law couldn't have caught up to me. So.
Now you gotta use your Game Boy Advance emulator.
Game Boy Advance. World's unfair. A little bit.
Yeah, not really, but
only.
I will say that this trailer, I really like this trailer, and I really liked this new character.
Did you?
I don't know. I did.
I hated it.
I don't know what it was about him, but he's so unique. I felt, at least. He's like a dancer, and then he's got like these little mini drones, and he kind of reminds me of Cad Bane from Star Wars: The Clone Wars with his big ass hat.
He reminded me of Raiden from Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
He is pretty
Me too.
cool. Yeah.
And
I
also,
kind of liked him, and his voice was awesome too.
well, I was confused because I was like, so what is your superpower? Like, do you distract people, like hypnotize people with your nanobots?
What a reference.
And then he was like slicing people with nanobots. So I was just confused.
I couldn't tell exactly what is what exactly it would translate to gameplay, but I dug the character. I'm probably never gonna play as him, but I enjoyed the trailer.
Well, now you have to and report back to us.
Oh, great! Yeah, that's my homework.
Yeah, let us know his fatalities, please.
Okay.
For sure.
Nah.
Not really, but I like the mode. I think the
other
mode is
game
cool.
of
Like the fact
conflict,
that it's
before we
like
get
just
into,
this
like, the
hodgepodge
ones
of
that
all
I
these
thought were
different
pretty
eras, and you can.
I don't know
It's
if
basically
anybody's
just like a
a big
custom
fan of
game
Battlefield.
editor. It's not like a total editor, but it's like lets you
takers.
make custom game modes, which I think is fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't seem as in-depth as like Far Cry 5's creative mode. But it seems pretty substantial. My friend, shouts out Aaron, he texted me like, yo, did you see the Battlefield
Their
trailer? I'm
marketing
like,
has been great these past
saw it.
few months. That one trailer they had that was
And
like
he's
the
saying this is,
highlight
like,
of
bringing
all
back
the
into
online
the
players,
Battlefield
like
Bowl. So I
big
think
plays.
Fans of the
That
series
was
are
awesome.
pretty excited for the game.
Specifically, the
I
one
hope
where
it
the
does
guy
well.
jumped out of the jet,
It needs to be a Game
sniped
Pass
the
game.
dude, and took his jet. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And all the wind and everything. It was like the dust storm. Yeah, I'm impressed by how they've made this game look. I'm just so curious as to what is this going to be.
When I watched the trailer,
Is it going to be kind of like
was
Black Ops 4? I don't know if y'all are familiar with Black Ops 4,
trailers,
where it's not really
how
any story,
awesome
but it's a
they
whole
were.
bunch of
And
different types of
This
modes.
goes for a lot of first-person shooters.
I'm
where they're
assuming it's going to be like
super
that, and I'm curious how it's
really
going to go.
action-heavy. And you get to the real game, and it's just some girl on Twitch like scratching herself a little bit while you hear footsteps and sometimes some guns going off. It always feels so underwhelming when you play the game after
That's so
getting
specific.
so hyped up. It's very specific, but that's just that's how it makes me feel. It goes from like super awesome to just kind of really bland. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe they've taken those criticisms to heart that they're overhyping their games. My criticism.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they showed. They definitely showed it out
curious.
sometime during E3.
Speaking
I
of
can't remember
Lost and
which
Random,
conference, but it was shown off in there.
Did y'all see
not
the
as
gameplay for
extensively
Lost and
this
Random
time as
before?
it was
'Cause this is the
here.
first time
but-
I've seen that
Is
game.
it a different game than the game we were talking about that was stop motion? Or
Yeah,
the
this is
same
a
game?
different one.
It's different. It's different. Yeah, that you're thinking of Harold Halibut.
Yep.
Okay. Because this
Yeah.
definitely has a Tim Burton like stop motion look to it.
It looks like
Yeah.
it looks totally like Nightmare Before Christmas.
It looks like if you guys have ever played the Alice in Wonderland games, I can't remember the developer.
This is different.
But Alice in Madness, like they made a couple of games like that. It
Yeah.
reminds me a lot of that kind of game.
Yeah.
But this actually looks cool and fun.
It does. It does look cool.
I like how they.
I doubt it will be full price. I believe this is one of their EA originals, so yeah, it actually is.
Game?
So it's
is
like
it an indie game, or
that
is it
EA
something
is
that's going to be full price?
promoting as one of their big games, kind of like how they did with Unravel. If you guys remember that Yarn game, and Unravel 2 is kind of along that same line. It's their EA originals where they're doing that. So this is one of them that they're trying to show off because it's one that they really believe in, and it looks good. Like I can see why they would choose this one to promote. Kind of looks like a mix of like it looks like a mix of like a card builder plus like a third person action adventure. It looks pretty fun, and it has like a cute little story associated with it. A lot of Coraline kind of vibes too, so it looks pretty fun. I'm definitely gonna play it.
Yeah, me too.
I might play it. It looks cool. It looks cool. I was definitely it was definitely one of the ones I was like, I wasn't expecting to like take that game away from this thing, but that's probably the game I'm looking most forward to. Before we get to the main
Gotta be
event
Need
of
for
this
Speed,
show,
right?
Need for Speed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I feel like Need
Like
for Speed
that
typically tends to try
I can't
to
remember the last
put one
time
in there, but
I
they
saw
never go off
story
well.
mode in a racing. Am I crazy?
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, you're right, but we know that's like, that's like saying 2K has a story mode. You know,
I
it's
like
it's
the
there.
professional racer
It's there, but
rivalry
it's like,
type
it's
thing
just
that they're
there. It's not
setting up there. I
anything
think that's
you're gonna write
a
home
really
about.
good.
This actually
avenue to
looked
take.
like
And I'm surprised that no other
It's
games
going
have,
to be something that's going to be a
or
little
at least
different.
in my recollection, have done something like that, because there are plenty of
And I thought,
movies about racing feuds. It's a great breeding ground for a fun underdog story, especially.
For sure. For sure. So I'm looking forward to that. I wish it was only current gen, but it still looks really good. So I'm looking forward to that. But there's one game that was announced that we knew was in the works for a while. You know, we've heard rumors about it, but we officially got
that's exciting, but it's also disappointing because I think Dead Space 4 on next gen only would have been
not Dead Space
better,
4. It's not, you know.
I don't know. I'm excited about
I think
this.
it's just a reboot.
It's actually kind of one of my most anticipated games now.
Well, this game is going to be next gen only, though, right? I believe that's one of the. Okay. Got it.
What's everybody's history with Dead
right.
Space?
I think Dead Space. I mean, they could have done a spiritual reboot of the gameplay priorities of the first game.
But I think Cole was saying a
third
continuation
game got
of
so
the Dead Space
into
lore.
action game territory and away from the original game's survival horror core that I think it's probably wise for them to do this type of I don't know. I mean, is it a remake? Is it a reboot? Is it a remake in the vein of like the Resident Evil 2 remake?
Yeah.
Or a remake in the vein of like Demon Souls and Shadow of the Colossus, where it's a faithful recreation, like putting all the bricks back where they were, kind of thing.
I hope it's more of a reboot. Yeah, like you're saying, because they got away from what made Dead Space special. Yeah, I never played 2 or 3. I mean, I did a little bit, but I can't even hardly remember them. And I honestly don't even remember the first one that much. That's why I'm kind of excited it's coming out. I like the vibe of it and everything.
In 3?
Oh, no. Oh, please, no.
Oh, is it? I really hope not.
Gosh,
but it wouldn't surprise me considering
it can't be.
they might try to follow up, kind of like how Ben was saying. They might try to pull exactly what Resident Evil franchise has done. Like Resident Evil ran into the same exact problem with survival horror when they made their transition to 4, which was more actiony but still loved, and then 5, which was pure action, and people didn't like it, and then they went strictly to, okay, we're gonna do horror, and then Resident Evil 7 came out and it was first person horror, what everyone wanted.
Jesus, it is.
And and then they came out with Resident Evil 2, which was third person and horror, and people loved that too. But then the other remake got away from that and kind of did Resident Evil 8, where it got more into the action territory. So it's anyone's guess, honestly. I'm hoping they stick with third person because that's what I love. With the first Dead Space especially, I love the third person horror feeling. The second one was good too, but then, like you guys said, third one got a little bit out of hand. But it's really anybody's guess. I'm hoping they stick to third person. Big brain.
Fred, I can't even hold you. That's some prime time analysis right there. It is very similar to the Resident Evil situation. Yeah, it's very similar.
They were
to
like,
that,
stop.
That's literally what happened. They released 4, which was critically acclaimed. 5 came out, less critically acclaimed. That would be like the Dead Space 2. And then Resident Evil 6, super mixed.
And people loved it.
Dead Space 3, super mixed. And so for the next installment, you go back to basics.
I think we did, actually.
Like.
And I don't
what
think
happened
so.
with Resident Evil
the
7,
reason that I think
back to that
is because
aesthetic.
The only
it seems
thing
like
we
they're
saw
doing the
of
exact
Isaac
same
was
thing
his
here now.
iconic
The question is, are they going to make it first
UI
person?
that tells you
That's
which
the question.
That
I don't
doesn't
think
work
we
if
got
it's
any
first
indication.
person. That totally goes away.
And
so
that was one of the first times that was even in a video game, right?
Okay.
I'm not sure if it was the first time, but I think Dead Space is one of the best examples of like that diegetic UI where it's all on the armor, and even
true.
The ammo is displayed on the guns, all that kind of stuff. I think they did a great job with that.
Mm-hmm. Now, am I misremembering? I could have sworn there was also... It's going to be interesting seeing how this does, because I believe there is also another studio that was formed from the same developers and people as the previous Dead Space games, and they announced that they're also making a new game that's coming out in 2 to 3 years.
You're thinking of the Callista Protocol.
Yes. So
that's...
Yes.
That studio, I'm not sure how many Dead Space veterans are at the studio, but I think executive producer of the original
that was at a
Dead Space
PlayStation conference, I believe,
is the core leadership behind the Callista Protocol.
And I believe they said that they wanted it to be, to bring back the survival horror that Dead Space originally made famous again.
It seemed very clear that they were trying to bark up the same tree. And interestingly enough, that's being published by PUBG Corp.
Oh, really?
Yep. Creators of course, PUBG. So this will be their first, I think, non-PUBG game that they've published. But it takes place in the PUBG universe, whatever that means exactly. I don't even know that PUBG has any lore or story yet, but the Callisto Protocol will inject some.
Yeah, it'll for sure be interesting seeing if these come out at this around the same time.
Yep.
Like how similar they'll be and which one will actually come out on top. But I'm a huge fan of survival horror games in the first place, so if we can get two of these that are both good, I will be a very happy camper.
What was just off topic a little bit? Didn't they have a different name than people who made PUBG? Was it always the PUBG Core, or was it something different?
I think PUBG Corp was the Western arm of the developer, and then the Korean arm was Bluehole.
That's what. Yes. Okay, that makes sense.
But I, if I'm mistaken, Bluehole is now just part of PUBG Corp. But I might be wrong about that.
I'm not up on my PUBG knowledge. I didn't know they had a different wing. That makes sense. Cool. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I played Dead Space a long time ago, and I tried out 3 because it was a PlayStation Plus one time. It was a PlayStation Plus game, and I did not like it. So I'm definitely looking forward to what they are going to bring as far as the reboot. Just a restart to the series. It's needed.
It's going to capture a whole new crowd of people too, because Dead Space 1 was released in like 2007 something.
It's an early PlayStation 3 game.
Yeah. 2008 October
8. Well, dope. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I think we all kind of are. Let's move on to our next topic.
Yeah, basically, well, for anyone who doesn't know, basically what happened was some
Netflix
super smart hacker and data miners were messing around in the Netflix iOS app, basically, and they found in the data basically images of PlayStation, I think like controllers, and specifically like a Ghost of Tsushima image and a bunch of PlayStation branding, basically in the Netflix app, which wouldn't really have a reason for being there. So that's kind of how this all came about. And then eventually, like I think last week, Netflix had confirmed that they actually were looking into expanding into video game territory. They didn't say that they were partnering up with PlayStation or anything, but they said that they were that they actually confirmed to, I believe it was to some Bloomberg journalists that they had hired some executives who had previously worked in the video games industry, like with Oculus and things like that, in order to start doing some research into, you know, what would it look like for Netflix to get into the video game market and expand their catalog.
Yeah, his name is Mike Verdu, and he is now the vice president of game development at Netflix.
Official title.
It is official. It is official. It's happening.
Hold on. What if what if they were just using like a PlayStation controller and like Ghost of Tsushima just completely without PlayStation's knowledge, and this was just dug up, and now they got a real problem, and PlayStation's probably pissed.
I kind of think that that's the most likely explanation of this.
They just got caught with their pants down, literally.
Well, it's not even that. Like, when you're in development for something, you use placeholder items.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they want to have stuff that's as great as, you know, exactly. I'm sure they would love to have Ghost of Tsushima on the service. Maybe they're even in talks with PlayStation, but I think the like Occam's razor kind of suggests that this is placeholder stuff that they're using that's in development.
That's what I was thinking too, and like, you know, now they're just embarrassed probably if that's the case.
I don't know though. I don't know because PlayStation is starting to push big on the whole PlayStation Studios ID, particularly with like they're doing their movies, like the Uncharted movie is finally coming out. They're doing the HBO series of The Last of Us. They're starting to push out PlayStation games like as more, out to the mainstream in these TV and movies kind of mainstream avenues. So I could totally see them cutting a deal with Netflix and saying, hey, we're going more of this avenue. Why don't you take like you're gonna get the best of the best people at Naughty Dog, at Santa Monica, or at Sucker Punch, get their narrative design leads in here, and we're going to work together to create like this Bandersnatch kind of experience for Ghost of Tsushima or something like that. I could definitely see them doing something like that.
There's speculation to that end because Sony Pictures is already in bed to some degree with Netflix. Their movies are going to be coming out on Netflix streaming after their theatrical run for a good number of like the biggest blockbusters that are upcoming.
So I look at this two ways. The first thing it kind of rubs me in the way that I don't think it's true, and I think it was placeholder, and this doesn't seem like Sony to do this. But then another way I look at it, and Game Rant had an article. It said the rumored PlayStation and Netflix team up could be Sony's best way to fight Xbox Game Pass, and that is so true. If they release this and partner with Netflix, they could immediately just be more popular than Game Pass right out the gate. If you could just turn on Netflix and select PlayStation or Netflix and go on over and start streaming PlayStation games, I mean that's huge.
But it would be it wouldn't be like PlayStation games. Like it would be like
it's Ghost of Tsushima out there.
Well, yeah, but Ghost of Tsushima subtitle, like a what do they call those things? Like, when kind of like Until Dawn, like all of Supermassive games. That's what I'm picturing like this would be, where you just are watching a movie and you're making decisions. I mean, I could be wrong.
But if we go by based on the pictures in the leaks, they had Ghost of Tsushima and they had a PlayStation controller. So if it was just one of those simple games, you wouldn't need a DualShock.
Yeah,
that's true.
And also they don't need to hire a vice president of game development.
It doesn't have to be that.
Make more Bandersnatch.
Fair.
But I will say too that I don't know that Netflix trying to chase a Game Pass model is the best thing for them when they're entering into a new sphere, like games is. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be some subscription model element to it, but I don't know. It doesn't seem like...
I believe actually they had also come out and said that they won't be doing an additional subscription model. I think they came out and already said we're going to have this just be an additional offering of Netflix, is what they said, and not have it be like a separate, like you pay more for this, according to the articles that I've read. But now if they see the numbers and say, oh, we can get this much more, they might change their tune. But
so if there's a game, if Netflix comes out with a Game Pass killer, is it going to be on Xbox? Because Xbox has Netflix right now.
I feel like
that is weird.
I feel like it might not be a partnership, but I definitely think Netflix is going to try to become like an A24. They're going to distribute games as widely as possible. And I think PlayStation's a great place to start. PlayStation probably wants to jump in that market. I know film studios have been looking into making more interactive movies. I've heard there's a Spy Kids Bandersnatch-esque thing in the make somewhere by Skydance and Robert Rodriguez's film company. So I think, and that I feel is going to be on Netflix, because I think that's what Skydance said, was they were looking to work with Netflix.
Yeah.
I think it's probably just that Netflix is going to start being a distributor, a mass distributor, and having a backlog of good games from Sony would be pretty good too.
Think about
No. Well,
yeah, I don't think you're getting new games. I don't think you're getting. I don't think you're getting what will be, let's say, like Last of Us 3. I don't think you're getting any of those type of games. I think you're going to get
being almost a
specific
go-to for big releases
type of games that will work best for Netflix. I just don't think you're going to get a Game Pass equivalent. You're not going to get like Microsoft is releasing Halo Infinite day one Game Pass. Like, you're not going to get any Sony exclusives day one.
More likely a month after they release.
I see you get maybe Ghost of Tsushima. You get maybe, Uncharted 4.
No.
What if this is their mentality? What if they're like, look, if we're gonna start our own gaming service, it's gonna take us years to build our own games and create our own content, like Netflix originals and stuff.
Don't see that.
So they signed like a 2-year deal with Sony.
Like, I don't think those are the games
to put your games that are over 2 years old, only PlayStation 4 games, on our console, and that gives them time to in the back.
The God of War,
in the back page, they can start building out studios and their own stuff. And after that 2-year deal runs out, hey Sony, sorry, we got our own stuff now. But at least that gets them in the door, and they can use Sony's content until then. Then they can cut ties with Sony and send Sony on, and then they got their own. Now they have Netflix gaming, and that's it. But they just use Sony for that time. And I mean, Sony, it's still for them. The positive is just to, expose the people to their brand, and vice versa. Sony can build their own streaming Game Pass platform while people are getting exposure to it on Netflix.
I'll do you one better. What if they just make the app PlayStation Now, and what if they just move everything from PlayStation Now, make it all streamable like Game Pass, and just put it on as an app on Netflix?
I mean,
I can see that.
I think we're all forgetting that Sony also makes movies, such critically acclaimed hits as Pixels by Adam Sandler. I think this is all a ploy. It's all a plan of theirs to finally get their Pixels video game made by Netflix.
Oh, that's it.
That's what it really is.
I mean,
they got Adam Sandler.
If it was a part of the subscription, I would play it.
I wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't.
Man, but think if they advertise to like, I think of my brother who used to play games back in the day, doesn't play anymore. He gets on Netflix and a trailer for Ghost of Tsushima or a Metal Gear Solid or something comes up and it says, hey, click here, we'll send you your DualShock. Just add it to your bill. Boom. Click there. 2 days later, he gets his DualShock in the mail. Bam. Now he can play PlayStation. And if it's that seamless, and then instead of when you turn it on, you select your profile, like we have the kids profile, we have our profile, Netflix, just gaming. Just tab over to gaming. Pick up your DualShock, turn it on, sit back and play.
Makes me think of Comcast.
Put on a headset.
Cole, if they ever made an easy way to play the entire Metal Gear Solid series on Netflix, I'll be a happy man.
Because think about what you just said.
The first.
Think about this.
I'll be a happy man.
Play the entire Metal Gear Solid series on Netflix. That just blows my mind. That's crazy. That's like 2022
and I think
stuff.
That's the direction I think that would be successful. They imagine they release something like, let's say, the old Jack and Daxter games. You know what I'm saying? Like, they go deep in the backlog, the back catalog.
You guys are literally describing PlayStation Now. This is PlayStation Now as it is currently.
True.
But PlayStation Now is not. It's not accessible though. It's not like the Netflix.
It really
connection
is though.
Makes it
really is accessible.
Not for the average people though. You'd have. How do you play it? PlayStation TV.
No, it's on your PS5. It's already on your PS5.
It's on the app.
But that's what I'm saying. You have to have a PS5 to get it, and no one can even get PS5s if they
want. Or PS4. It's on PS4.
But that's what I'm saying, though. The average, I'm talking
Hell,
about the
I think
Netflix.
PS3.
Y'all, how many people have Netflix in their household in America?
But see, that's the point. No, the numbers are for PlayStation Now is 3.2 million subscribers
versus
Netflix
200
is
million.
207.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
That's why I'm saying get rid of the app, put it inside Netflix. That's a win right there.
That's what I'm saying. And then just
that's a
brand
win
it as
right
gaming.
there.
brand it as gaming tab. Make it the barrier to entry. Make it literally, and you can even have the same layout as PlayStation View, or what is not PlayStation View? What is it? PlayStation
Now.
I had PlayStation View.
PlayStation View. Dang, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I forgot about that one. Guys, I gotta wonder really though. So the exposure is great, but PlayStation doesn't need exposure from Netflix. There's 120 million PS4s out there.
I agree.
All they
to me,
need,
it makes
all they need is for PS Now to be really good and for them to actually push it.
Right.
Which they haven't.
But I think Cole described something that is a real sentiment because everybody thinks PlayStation Now sucks.
Yeah.
Like that's a very real problem for PlayStation Now.
Right. But
I think if you wrap it in Netflix,
think of how much easier and how much more upside for PlayStation there would be if they just made PlayStation Now competitive with Game Pass and promoted it. They don't
agree.
need Netflix. They wouldn't need Netflix.
That's
so I
expensive.
think
I agree. This
I
is
feel like it's
lopsided.
expensive. That's why they don't do
it. Dude, it's lopsided. This is more beneficial for Netflix to me than PlayStation.
That's why I don't think they're partnering with them. They're
going, I don't either.
At very least, they're going to publish games, share games, have a gaming section on their system, including some Sony stuff, maybe Nintendo stuff if we're lucky. They'll just have a selection of random stuff grabbed from all over, indie games, older games from older systems. Nothing shocking, and it's going to be like everything else Netflix. It's going to rotate out in a month, and it's just an extra thing for Netflix to have. It doesn't benefit anyone except for maybe someone who wants to play some games for free or for their Netflix subscription.
I mean,
that's the rational take.
Yeah,
that's the rational take.
All of this sounds amazing. I think all you guys personally are just dreaming. I don't think any of this is going to happen. I think we're just going to get a bunch of Bandersnatch games by PlayStation, with PlayStation helping with some PlayStation branding, and they're going to call it a day. PlayStation will take the check and say, good job.
Wait a second. So you're saying gamers are overhyping something? That's
I mean, if I can get any of what any of you said, I will gladly take it. But I just think this is gonna be, hey, Netflix, go to Sony. Hey, Sony, give us some of your properties. We'll make it good. Like, we'll pay you a little bit of this, and we'll see how it goes. And that's just kind of how it's gonna be.
Everyone, quick, make the Scream, soy boy face, and I'll make that the thumbnail. And it'll be like gamers hyping stuff. That'll be the name of the
Ben,
episode.
do it. You're not doing it.
Oh, sorry.
Perfect. That's the thumbnail. Right.
Okay, cool.
Gamers hyping.
But yeah, I hope we get a PlayStation Now in Netflix. I will get that if it comes to
and look, I think we've talked about this before, and I agree with Ben like crazy. PlayStation could beat Game Pass in a week if they just put it together and promoted it and
I disagree. I think
dude,
there's a lot of lost money in Game Pass. I don't think Sony can afford to waste. Not waste per se, but invest. There's a lot of lost money in Game Pass. Game Pass is a future. It's an investment. It's not they're not making money on it right now. It's an investment that's going to pay off.
Sony could almost. They could almost do it
Sony
with just their first parties.
But Sony as a company is not they're not in this anywhere near the same financial shape as Microsoft.
Mm-hmm.
I would love for them to do that, but I think it would take a lot of investment for them to really get it to where it would need to be to compete with Game Pass.
Yeah. I think the point that I was making earlier was that that reality makes it even less logical for PlayStation to want to split the pot with Netflix if it could just have the whole thing. So if it just had its own PlayStation, branded service like it does with PlayStation Now, though PlayStation Now is not great compared to Game Pass. So it just doesn't make any sense to me that they would want to compete with Game Pass while having to split profits with Netflix.
Very true. Well, it's an interesting thing. We won't know until we get an official announcement. But as gamers, we have to dream, but we also need to have those rational take.
But will this Netflix subscription be on the Switch Pro?
That's the question.
Wow.
That's what we're all asking.
Well, apparently you won't have to wait too long because apparently Netflix are saying within like the next year this is supposed to happen. So you won't have to wait too long.
Well, wait. Isn't Netflix is not even on the Switch, right?
No, it's
No.
not. That's the best part. And the Switch Pro doesn't exist.
Hulu Gaming. Hear me out. Hulu Gaming.
Hulu Gaming.
With ads. Every
I forgot that Hulu is even on the Switch. That's hilarious.
Play Metal Gear 5, and every like 30 minutes there's like an ad break for HIV medication. So
right before you like knock somebody out.
Yep.
Oh man.
But that's only if you pay like $7.
Man.
If you pay $8, no ads.
Hulu Switch edition.
Gaming.
I can see it.
Gaming edition 2.
Oh man. So, as always, we have to end it right. So Cole, take it away. This is our podcast within a podcast. Welcome to Reminisce. What's going on?
Okay, so I think my other Reminisce was a launch story, and this is going to be a launch story as well. This one is actually not one of my favorite consoles. Actually, I never even owned the console, but it's one of my favorite launch stories ever, and it is 2001, the Nintendo GameCube. So I was 16 years old, and my cousin was a huge. By this time, I'd started. I think I had Dreamcast, and I was like playing more mature games at that point. But my cousin was still. He was my age too. He was still super into Nintendo. Like he was more into Pokémon and stuff than I was back then, and like I don't know. Anyway, he wanted to get the GameCube. So I was 16 years old, came out at midnight, and for whatever reason, I guess we called around and we found out that Kmart had them. And this was, one of these, I don't even know if Kmart's really exists anymore, but so it was a Kmart that opened up at midnight for us to get the GameCube. So we leave the house. His parents let us leave at 11 o'clock at night to go get the GameCube. And we drive there. We pick up the GameCube. We get in the car. We picked up 3 games, which I'll tell you about those in a minute, or two or three games. I don't know if I'm remembering that right. But anyway, we get in the car to go home with the GameCube, and he spilled Mountain Dew all over the seat. We were just high on Mountain Dew. It's all we drank back then. So I pulled over behind the Kmart to clean the Mountain Dew, and we were so hype, and a police officer pulled up behind us and turned the lights on and pulled us over. You're 16, you're terrified. So the police officer comes up to our window. So I don't know if y'all remember this, but when we were 16, there was two rules that applied to you if you were only 16. At 17, they were all fine. You couldn't be out past 11 o'clock, and you could not have a passenger with you. This is the state of Georgia. Mm-hmm. I could not.
Georgia rule.
Same thing here.
Okay, the passenger could be 25 years or older, right? So my cousin was 15.
It's 21 for me, but yeah.
Yeah, or 21, yeah. So my cousin was 15, and we were like, oh man, we're screwed. We got this game, just one of the best nights of our life. Like, we're so excited. New Nintendo console, which does not happen often. So we told the guy, we were like, yeah, we told him the truth. We came to get the GameCube or whatever. I can't remember if he was particularly nice or whatever, but I do remember this next part. He called. We said, yeah, call my dad, and he would tell you that he let us come get it. And the guy was just going to let us go. Well, we called his dad, and he didn't answer the phone, which I don't know, which is whatever. So I was like, okay, we'll just call my parents. My parents will just tell you it's okay. And my parents didn't answer the phone. So I was like, what is going on? Our families always answer the phone, like, especially, if we're out or something. But anyway, I don't know what happened after that. I can't remember, but I just remember we were so scared. And he finally just let us go, or like escorted us back home. And we got home, and we played the crap. And this was one of the best launch games ever. It was so awesome. Rogue Squadron. It was Star Wars. It was a Rogue Squadron game. And we had... So I think it was that and Wave Race. And I've talked with you guys about Wave Race before. Wave Race is like the incredible water physics racing, jet ski racing game. And we played, do y'all remember, was that it for the GameCube launch titles? Was Sunshine a launch title?
No.
Mm-mm.
It wasn't, yeah.
No.
So that was it. So that's
Melee
probably
came
got
out
those
like a
two
week after. Melee came out like a week after.
Yeah, because I don't remember us playing a Mario game. But anyway, we played Rogue Squadron and Wave Race, and it was amazing. Those two games are awesome, and that was just one story that I'll just never forget. It was just a launch. I feel like I have really good launch stories. There's always some drama that happens on launch video game nights, but that's my reminisce. That was a good one. Good memory.
I actually have a quick story about GameCube, and it wasn't my specific GameCube, but it was my friend Trey. Shout out Trey. So I don't know what y'all did when like elementary school, but were y'all ever allowed like on those party days, like the last days of school, to bring your consoles?
Yeah.
No,
what is that?
that's amazing.
So we used to have like in the last day of school, classes are over. This is like maybe third grade, I believe that's when the GameCube came out for me. And my friend brought his GameCube, his purple GameCube. He brought Super Smash. He brought 4 controllers. That's the first time I ever played Super Smash. And
Man,
it
epic.
was such an amazing experience until my one friend, who I won't name, decided I don't want to embarrass him. Big classroom, very big classroom. He decided to run right through the controller wires, connecting the GameCube to the TV. He brings the whole thing down in what felt like an eternity. It was really like a second, but it felt like an eternity of that GameCube falling to the ground. And
it still worked. Perfect.
It did. Like really? That was the funny thing, because like when the games wouldn't start at first, and it would bring you to that like it was like like as soon as it wouldn't start, like that happened. We're like, oh no, the GameCube's broken. But that was a trooper. I don't think my PS5 could drop the way that GameCube dropped. It'd be okay.
No, dude. PlayStation 5 would not.
It was on a solid. It was on a solid floor. It wasn't like carpet. It was like a solid floor. That was an underrated piece of the GameCube. It was a solid fellow.
Yeah, that happened to my PS1 with Final Fantasy IX. Throwback to that reminisce, and it did not survive. Had to send it out to get repaired, and it took weeks.
All my consoles were always very durable, except the one that sticks out in my head was PlayStation 2. Disc read eras, we had this little fix that I would take the PlayStation apart and had this mini screwdriver, and it would have a disc read era, and you would have to tighten. You would tighten like the disc reader or whatever. Like there's like this one little part you would tighten, and then you put the disc in and it worked. But about once a night, me and my friends would be trying to tighten the PlayStation to get it to work.
The good old days. Now we just put
Cole,
everything in.
Your kids won't have to deal with anything like that.
Right?
No,
they're not going to know the struggle.
You know, I was thinking that this last thing, how crazy it is. Like we all grew up with like just having a few games. And this is my last thought of the night, but I mean, they're gonna pick up the Switch, and there's like 40 games on it. You know, like games I've bought, digital games, demos, and you just have instant access. You can just go say, "Oh, I think I want to play Skyward Sword." Yeah, I'll just download it, even though you got to pay for it. But you have instant access to everything. We had to go out physically buy. I'll get like 1 game a year or 2 games a year or something sometimes. It's a different world, boys.
That's true.
It really is.
Cool.
The different world. That's
Very
a
true.
great place to end the podcast. I want to thank all of you for watching or listening to the Dukes of Gaming podcast. You can listen to us on your favorite podcast service and watch us on YouTube as well. Leave a like, a review, a comment, anything to help support the show. You can even email us at therealdukesofgaming@gmail.com. Have your submission read live on air. Just do it. It'll be cool. All of our socials in the description. It will be coming at you next week with some more hot takes. Hit the bell as well and get notifications. We'll post everywhere, every Monday, every week. So make sure you start your week right with the Dukes of Gaming. I bid thee farewell.